Hi, my name is Stephen Murphy. I'm a partner here at Block O'Toole and Murphy, and I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the cases that I handled with partner Michael Hurwitz of our firm. There's a 32-year-old man, Spanish-speaking guy. He's a butcher, and he was in Brooklyn on Kings Highway, and he was walking across Kings Highway when he was hit by a bus. And he doesn't remember anything. He has some pretty serious injuries: a fractured clavicle, he has a fractured pelvis. He sustained some serious back injuries that ultimately resulted in a surgery, and he also lost his foot. His foot was amputated. This man had no memory of the accident. The police report gave an account that was one-sided. It was the bus driver's account, and his account, in our estimation, just from what we had learned early on, was inaccurate. It was not truthful. He was lying. What we did after that, I think, really was essential to the success of this case. We were able to get phone calls, recorded calls made by the bus operator to his foreman and to his depot. And at that particular time, it didn't look great. These phone calls were really blaming the plaintiff. They were protecting the driver and blaming the plaintiff. They said that the plaintiff jumped out from a car and ran into the side of the bus. What we did after that is we interviewed witnesses on the bus and pedestrians on the street, and we were able to uncover surveillance video. There are cameras everywhere now, and lawyers who don't do their due diligence and look for cameras in surrounding areas are not doing right by their client. And we found a video of this accident that showed how it took place, and it showed that our client had the right of way. He was crossing in the crosswalk, and a bus driver made a right-hand turn onto Kings Highway and didn't yield at all. He must not have seen the plaintiff walking in the crosswalk, because there's no other way to explain his actions. He continued to operate that bus at a speed that wasn't decelerating at all, and he ran right over him. Our client was right in the middle of the front of the bus when he was hit. Now, his body was dragged down, and then he was ran over. The rear wheels of the bus actually went over his leg and tore it off. Now, what was difficult about our investigation is that his clothing and his shoes were sprayed out all over the street, not necessarily right where he was hit. There was blood in different spots. That surveillance video showed everything. And what we did to really dictate the result in this case was we used the defendant's own words against him. We played the recorded statements where he tried to distance himself from this accident, blame the plaintiff, avoid any responsibility for what he did. And then we played the surveillance video. And putting the tape and the video right up next to each other and allowing him to try and explain himself was devastating for the defense. This wasn't a case where you had an insurance company paying. This was about persuading the Transit Authority to come up with a significant sum of money. And anyone who practices law in New York knows you do not get the Transit Authority to pay until they have absolutely no other choices. They're not known as the most generous of defendants, but we had their backs against the wall. We had a nice client, a decent client, whose world was shattered. This was a young man who was married, had young children, and he was the sole supporter of his family. We were able to show that he had income loss, that he had lifelong injuries, and that they were at fault. We pushed the case all the way to trial, and right on the eve of trial, the Transit Authority caved.